All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So I've got a couple interesting stories for you guys today. The first story is a big breaking story in bodybuilding news today, and that story is about a guy named Eric Favre. So according to the French news website Le Progrès, in an article that just came out today, April 11th, Eric Favre was indicted in connection to steroid trafficking. So if you don't know who Eric Favre is, let me give you guys a little breakdown on who he is and some of the connections he has in the bodybuilding industry. So he's a pretty well-known guy within bodybuilding, but he's more so famous and popular over in France for his connection with French bodybuilders, such as Lionel Bayecki, one of the bigger name guys that he works with as an IFBB pro. And another guy that you guys might be familiar with that he works with that just turned pro by winning the Arnold Classic Amateur in Ohio is Morgan Asti, one of the biggest bodybuilders of all time, weighing in excess of 315 pounds on stage. So this Eric Favre guy, he works with these guys, he coaches these guys, and to my knowledge, he's like a French bodybuilding guru, and he's one of the biggest, bodybuilding gurus over there in France, and he works with the top bodybuilders that come out of France. And I believe he sponsors many of these guys as well in terms of his clothing company and supplements and things of that nature. But recently, on this French website, apparently he was indicted on Thursday evening in a case of trafficking anabolics. Now, I'm going to link this actual website in the description box below because the article is in French. You're going to have to translate it to kind of understand what's going on here. So some of this might not have translated entirely correctly, but this is the translation that I got. So apparently, Eric Favre, in addition to a guy named Hubert Géricot, were both arrested on Tuesday morning at their homes, and then they were indicted on Thursday on these anabolic trafficking charges. Now, apparently this indictment stems from an investigation that began back in December of 2017, and the official nature of the investigation and the charges is, and I quote, acquisition, possession, sale, or offer and import of doping substances and execution of work hidden in organized gangs, abuse of social goods, money laundering, organized band, aggravated tax fraud, and criminal conspiracy to prepare an offense punishable by 10 years imprisonment. And then the article goes on to say that this case dates back to September of 2016, where customs intercepted a package containing anabolic products from Thailand. And then further down in the article, it goes on to say that a preliminary investigation resulted in the identification of several bodybuilders that engage in the purchase and resale of these doping products. And it also led to the activity of a group of companies, including two holding companies located in Luxembourg and Rhone-Alpes Laboratory, marketing pharmaceutical and nutritional products both nationally and internationally. The group Les Trois Chiens. And I'm sure I butchered the name of that, but so this could be a really big story. I mean, I'm hoping that there is no connection between some of the bodybuilders that we know, Lionel Bayecki, Morgan Asti, in this situation as far as the resale and purchase of doping products. It doesn't say which bodybuilders were identified, but it could be a very big story if some of these bodybuilders are identified to be these big name guys. And if you guys remember, Lionel Bayecki was supposed to compete in the Arnold Classic Columbus, Ohio, and the reason why he didn't compete, he said it was an issue with his passport or his visa. So could there possibly be some connection between these two stories? Who knows? Again, none of these bodybuilders' names were given or identified, so we don't know that it's Lionel Bayecki and we don't know that it's Morgan Asti. We don't know if it's any of these guys, but hopefully it's not. So again, this article will be linked in the description box if you want to read the whole thing. And if you speak English and you read in English, you're going to have to translate that article to see what it says. But it will be down there in the description box below. Now, the next story that I have for you guys today is going to be about Calum Von Moger. So we all know that Calum Von Moger has had some major setbacks in his bodybuilding career. And in recent months, he has been working on making a comeback and rebuilding his physique to what we hope is going to be a competitive physique in the classic physique division, which was originally his goal prior to those injuries. So Calum actually put up his most recent physique update just 1 hour ago today with the caption, "I told you I'll be back," where it appears in that photo that he's regaining some significant size to his legs, which was the primary thing that had been injured and holding him back from training to the full extent was that leg injury that he had. And of course, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Generation Iron, they announced they're going to be doing a bodybuilding documentary about Calum Von Moger, which is going to be called Unbroken. And that documentary is going to be centered around his comeback and his injuries and his setback And again, focusing on him rebuilding his physique. So I'm actually going to be interested to see that, because I think Calum's situation is an interesting one. I mean, this guy is one of the biggest stars in the bodybuilding industry and had probably some of the biggest setbacks of anybody in today's generation of bodybuilders. And he's one of the most promising young guys in terms of potential, his overall physique. And everyone was talking about him being the next big thing possibly in classic physique. And then unfortunately, all that talk was kind of put on the shelf when he had these injuries and he lost a tremendous amount of size. And in addition to that photo that he posted today, he's posted several other photos over the past couple of weeks where it looks like he's been, hyper responding to getting back into training and getting back into the bodybuilding lifestyle. He looks to be really looking like he used to look. I mean, he's regaining a lot of size and responding very, very well to the training. So I'm very curious to see, what his physique's going to look like when he's back to 100%, or if he can get back to 100%. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about how Calum Von Moger is currently looking. And do you think he's going to be able to make a full recovery? Do you think he's going to be able to make a comeback as far as having his competitive physique, hitting the classic physique stage again in the NPC, getting a pro card, qualifying for the Olympia? What are your guys' thoughts as far as all of those things are concerned? All right, so the next story that I have for you guys today is about Jay Cutler, and this is something that I see all the time in my messages on Instagram and my comment sections everywhere. Talk about Jay Cutler's comeback. Jay Cutler's training again. He's looking bigger. When's he making his comeback to the Olympia stage? So Jay Cutler is not making a comeback, and he actually confirmed this on the YouTube channel GN Laboratories in this video. I'm going to go ahead and roll this clip for you guys right here, where they're talking about what are Jay's plans for the future. So here's that clip.
So it's good. And I'm just training. I'm having fun training. I'm not planning a comeback. Everyone thinks I'm coming back.
I remember I follow you on the YouTube channel.
I'm doing a lot of YouTube videos now and a lot of content that give people education about fitness and bodybuilding. Trying to keep bodybuilding alive, because I think bodybuilding can be healthy if you follow the right path.
So in that clip, Jay addresses the comeback rumors. He says he's not making a comeback. He's focused on the new supplement company that he started. And also he's focused on growing his YouTube channel, which is fantastic, by the way. So a lot of people ask me, how do I think Jay would do if he made a comeback? Do I think he should make a comeback? Would I like to see him make a comeback personally? And honestly, I think everybody's immediate reaction to any bodybuilding legend that even hints at a comeback, everyone wants to see them make a comeback, or at least that's their knee-jerk reaction to hearing something like that. But I think the reality of the situation is, Jay is a really smart guy. Jay's a very business-oriented guy. He hasn't competed since 2013, and he's been making a name for himself for the past 6 years, just going to expos, meeting fans, promoting his own brand, and doing a really good job by staying relevant on social media and not needing to compete, which is something that I think a lot of people neglect to realize about today's generation of bodybuilders, is there's a lot of guys that never even need to turn pro, and they'll garner a tremendous following on social media because they're interactive with the fans or they resonate with the fans. And Jay's kind of one of those rare guys that walked the walk, won 4 Mr. Olympias, retired, and then afterwards figured out the social media game and figured out how to promote his own brand. So there is no reason why Jay Cutler would ever need to come back. Do I think he would ever make a comeback? Honestly, no. And the other thing that people don't really seem to think about is, when they think about these guys coming back, they're thinking about Jay Cutler in his prime. They're thinking about 2009 Jay Cutler. What if we saw 2009 Jay Cutler on the 2019 Olympia stage? That's what they're thinking in their heads. But if Jay Cutler made a comeback, that's not the Jay Cutler that we're going to see. Just like what we saw with Kevin Levrone back at the 2016 Mr. Olympia, everyone was excited to see Kevin come back because Kevin had that classic aesthetic 90s physique when he competed, and they were remembering Kevin in his prime and thinking to themselves, what if we had prime Kevin Levrone in this 2016 Olympia lineup? It would change bodybuilding. We'd have this aesthetic physique again against these guys that people felt weren't as aesthetic. And that wasn't the case. All due respect to Kevin, but at the 2016 Olympia, he was a shadow of himself, and it wasn't really what people were expecting or what they wanted to see. And I think if Jay Cutler made a comeback, it would be a very similar situation. So I think bodybuilder comebacks overall are just kind of a touchy subject. Because yes, of course, we miss seeing Jay Cutler compete. Yes, of course, we miss seeing Ronnie Coleman compete. Yes, of course, we miss seeing Kevin Levrone compete. But I think we need to keep that memory of them, when they were in their primes, and we don't need to see them come back in their 40s in place, outside of the top 10 at an Olympia. We want to keep that, the memory of them in their prime as the memory that we have of them. And there's really no need for them to come back and compete today, especially a guy like Jay that's done a tremendous job of making a name for himself in this industry through social media and building his brand. So that wraps it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed already for more content and news updates just like this one. Thank you guys for watching. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.